Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. Usually, when we talk about the suburbs, we have this very specific image in our heads.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the endless rows of houses, the identical driveways, that quiet hum of lawnmowers on a Saturday.
The whole white picket fence dream.
Exactly. But today, we are heading out to Pointe-Claire here in Montreal to look at a project that just completely shatters that image.
It really does.
We're analyzing a detailed report on the Hemisphere Project at 275 Hymas. And honestly, reading through this, it doesn't feel like a renovation. It feels more like a mutation.
A mutation is the perfect word for it.
Yep.
It implies this evolutionary shift, not just, a new coat of paint.
We're talking about taking a traditional, totally car-centric suburban lot and forcing it to evolve into something that looks a lot more like a slice of downtown.
For sure. It's a massive pivot. We're looking at a, $140 million development that's trying to answer a really difficult question.
Which is,
Can a suburb survive the future without basically becoming a city? Or does it have to mutate into a 15-minute city to stay relevant?
so before we get into the heavy stuff, the financing, that 15-minute concept, and the traffic, which I know is going to be a spicy topic, let's just set the scene.
Okay.
For anyone who doesn't know the West Island, we are at the corner of Saint-Jean Boulevard and Brunet Avenue.
Right, and for context, Saint-Jean isn't just a road. It's the spine of the entire area. It is a massive arterial boulevard.
Changing a corner on Saint-Jean is like performing heart surgery on the neighborhood.
Yeah,
You notice it.
you definitely notice it.
Now, if you drove past 275 Hymas a few years ago, what were you looking at?
You were looking at a relic of a totally different era. It was the Apollo microwave site.
Which sounds cool, like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It sounds cool, but visually. It was an industrial box surrounded by just a sea of asphalt.
The classic heat island.
Total heat island. In the summer, that blacktop would just bake, radiating heat. It was a dead zone for the community. You drove past it, you never went to it.
And now, the plan is to wipe that slate clean. The report details this huge new structure, 2 towers, rising, 10 to 15 stories?
Yeah, that's right. And they're connected by a central pavilion.
But the thing that jumped out at me immediately in the diagrams was the shape. You keep calling it an H shape.
Yes, the H configuration.
Now, be honest. Is that just architects trying to be fancy, like, let's make it an H for Hemisphere? Or is there an actual point to it?
No, it's not just branding. It's actually a really clever piece of environmental design. I mean, think about where we are, Saint-Jean Boulevard. It's loud, it's windy, it's busy.
It's a wind tunnel in February, for sure.
Exactly. So by shaping the building like an H, you create these 2 protected pockets, these interior courtyards on either side. It blocks the wind and actually creates a microclimate.
A microclimate.
Yeah. It's physically calmer. It's a bit warmer in those courtyards than it is right on the street. Plus, it maximizes the surface area for windows, so you get all this natural light deep into the units.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, there's another term in the report describing the structure that threw me for a loop. They talk about the basil pavilion.
The basil. Right.
My mind went straight to basil, like the herb,
Not quite.
or like a basal metabolic rate. What is that?
BASAL. In architecture, basil just means the base, the foundation layer. Think of it as the podium that connects the 2 towers.
That's the anchor.
It's the anchor, but it's also like the social glue. That's where your common areas are. It's designed to be the place where people actually have to cross paths before they go up to their apartments.
And going up is the key theme here. We are looking at 334 units. That's a lot of people.
It is. It's split into 2 phases, 167 units each.
And because they're going up 15 stories in an area that's generally pretty flat, the views must be insane. The report mentions Lake St. Louis.
Oh, absolutely. From those upper floors, you're going to see the water, the city skyline, probably even the mountains on a clear day. It completely changes the whole visual of that intersection.
So we know what it looks like. But who's actually pulling this off? Because a project this size, $140 million, isn't something a couple people just decide to build.
No, you've got some serious institutional muscle behind this. The land has been owned by the Voulimanos family for 30 years.
So this isn't a build and flip situation.
No, this is a long-term hold. They've partnered with Codem for development, and crucially, the design is by NIU architect.
UF is a big name.
Huge. They did the Chum, that massive super hospital downtown, and the Hotel Berks. These are complex, high-stakes, award-winning projects.
That context is really important, isn't it? When you hire the firm that designed the super hospital to design a rental building in the suburbs, you are sending a very specific message.
You're saying this isn't just an apartment block. This is institutional-grade design.
Yeah.
It brings a level of polish and kind of hotel-style living that the suburbs just haven't seen before.
It signals premium. Which brings us to the lifestyle promise. The report keeps using this buzzword, the 15-minute city. We hear this everywhere now, but what does it actually look like for someone living at Hemisphere?
It means the car becomes a luxury, not a limb.
Okay, but let's visualize that. Walk me through a day.
All right. You wake up on a Tuesday. You need to get to work. Instead of scraping ice off your car, you walk maybe 10 minutes to the future Fairview Pointe-Claire RM station.
And you're downtown in what, 20 minutes?
Something like that. Then you come home. You need groceries. You don't drive to some big box store. You just walk to the gourmet grocery store next door.
Right.
Need a prescription. The Lakeshore General Hospital is an 11-minute walk. Want to go shopping? Fairview Center is right there.
So the idea is that your entire life shrinks down to this walkable circle.
Precisely. And that is a fundamental shift from the Apollo microwaves era, where that lot was just a place you drove to. Now it's a node in a network.
One thing that surprised me about the site plan was the green space. Usually when developers say density, they just mean concrete.
That's the old model, stacking bricks, as they say. But Hemisphere is dedicating 65% of the site to green space.
65%'s a lot.
It's enormous. We're talking about a private park, a dog park, walking trails, and this is my favorite detail, a community garden.
The community garden really stuck with me, just the image of it. You're taking a site that used to make microwave components, and now someone's going to be growing tomatoes there.
It's the ultimate symbol of that mutation we talked about, from industrial output to agricultural input. And it serves a social purpose, too. We need to talk about urban isolation.
Right, because living in a high-rise can be incredibly lonely. You can be surrounded by hundreds of people and not know a single name.
Exactly. And that's a real public health issue. So the design includes 25,000 square feet of common spaces, the Basil Pavilion, the terraces, the garden. These are engineered collision points.
Collision points.
Yeah, you have to bump into your neighbors. You have to talk to the person whose dog is playing with yours. Forces a community to form.
Okay, so it's green, it's social, it's walkable. But here's where I want to get a little cynical. This all sounds expensive. The glass, the fancy architects, the gardens. How do you finance a $140 million science experiment like this?
This is where the story gets really interesting. They didn't just go to a bank and say, give us money. They used the CMHC MLI Select program.
Let's unpack that. CMHC is the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. What is MLI Select?
It's a point-based insurance product. Think of it like a video game. The developer wants better financing terms, lower interest rates, longer amortization, and to unlock those power-ups, they have to score points.
Points for what?
Affordability, accessibility, and energy efficiency. Hemisphere went all in on energy efficiency. They committed to exceeding the National Energy Code by 25%.
So by being greener, they literally get cheaper money.
Exactly. Sustainability wasn't just a moral choice. It was a ruthless financial strategy. They also tapped into green economy financing based on ESG criteria.
Environmental, social, and governance.
Right. And there's one specific piece of tech that I think is a total game changer. I haven't seen this done at this scale very often.
The cars.
The cars. They have committed to installing electric vehicle charging infrastructure for every single unit.
Wait, hold on. Every unit?
Every single one.
Okay, playing devil's advocate here. That sounds insanely expensive. If I'm a renter with a 2010 Civic, am I paying a premium for a plug I'm not even using?
In the short term, maybe a little, but you have to look at the timeline. This building is opening in 2025, 2026. By 2030, 2035, the vast majority of new cars sold will be electric.
Oh, okay.
If you build a tower today without chargers, you're basically building a dinosaur. You're building in obsolescence.
So they're future-proofing.
They're future-proofing the asset. And for a potential tenant, that resolves the biggest anxiety about owning an EV. Where do I charge? If the answer is in your own spot every night, that changes everything.
It's a bold bet. Now let's talk about the money coming out of this project. Because usually when a luxury tower goes up, the locals complain. But the city of Pointe-Claire must be seeing dollar signs.
Oh, the municipal treasurer is definitely smiling. The report estimates $1.2 million per year in new property tax revenue.
That pays for a lot of snowplows.
It sure does. And then there's a local economy. You're adding 600 permanent residents. These people need haircuts, they need coffee, they need dinner. The estimate is an injection of $4.5 million annually into local businesses.
So it's a stimulus package for the neighborhood. But I want to circle back to that word luxury. The report emphasizes high-end. In a housing crisis, aren't we just building homes for rich people?
This is the most common critique, and it's a fair question. But there's an economic concept at play here called residential fluidity.
Okay, explain that to me like I'm 5.
Imagine a game of musical chairs. But instead of taking a chair away, we're adding a really fancy new leather recliner at the front.
Okay, I'm listening.
A high-income earner takes that new fancy chair, but to do that, they have to get out of their current chair, which might be a pretty decent mid-range apartment. Now that mid-range place is empty.
So it creates a vacuum effect.
Exactly. It creates a chain reaction of vacancies that ripples down the price ladder. Even if the new building is expensive, it increases the total supply, which theoretically relieves pressure on the whole market.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. You can't solve a housing shortage without building housing, even if that housing starts at the top.
All right, let's move from theory to reality. The timeline. When can people actually move in?
It's happening fast. Groundbreaking was autumn 2023. Phase 1 occupancy is slated for summer 2025.
That's right around the corner.
And Phase 2 follows in April 2026.
So soon. But now we have to talk about the friction point. The thing every single person in the West Island is thinking about. Traffic.
The elephant on the road.
Samsung Boulevard is already a parking lot at 5 p.m. You drop 600 new people onto that corner? Come on. How does that not make it worse?
It's a legitimate fear. The source material explicitly notes that traffic is the #1 concern for current residents. And let's be real, adding density means adding people.
Right. And people in the West Island drive. It's a car culture. Are people really going to walk to the grocery store when it's -20 in February?
That's the gamble. The developers are banking on that 15-minute city designed to actually change behavior. Their data suggests that by increasing pedestrian density by, I think, 12%, you reduce the number of car trips per household.
So the argument is, yes, there are more people, but each person is driving less often.
Exactly. 600 people in a tower might generate fewer rush hour trips than 600 people in sprawling bungalows further away, just because the tower residents can walk to the train.
But it requires a massive behavioral shift. If they all move in and just drive everywhere like they used to, then Saint-Jean is going to gridlock.
It's a test of urban maturity. Pointe-Claire is trying to transition from a car-dependent model to a connected city model. But you can't force people to change. You can only build the infrastructure and hope the culture follows.
Urban maturity.
Yeah.
I like that phrase. It implies the city is growing up, not just out.
That's the key. For decades, the model was just sprawl, horizontal expansion. Now we're hitting the limits of that. We have to go vertical and we have to go green.
So if we step back and look at Hemisphere, it really is a case study. We have the green financing, the density, the tech, the lifestyle shift, and this tension with the existing car culture.
It ticks every single box of modern urban planning. It shows you can attract serious investment by prioritizing sustainability. You can take an environmental liability like a heat island and turn it into a community asset.
But it all hinges on the execution. Will the community garden actually get used? Will the residential fluidity really lower rents elsewhere?
Those are questions only time will answer, but the ambition is undeniable.
It's a fascinating glimpse into what the future of the suburbs might look like. No longer just bedrooms and driveways. It's becoming its own ecosystem.
And that leads me to a thought I've been mulling over with this file.
What's that?
We've spent this whole time talking about how this project brings city living to the suburbs. Density, walkability, transit.
Right.
If projects like this succeed, if the suburbs successfully mutate into these self-sufficient high-density nodes, what happens to the distinction between city and suburb?
That's a great question.
Does that line just disappear entirely? If Pointe-Claire has the density and the lifestyle of a downtown borough, is it really a suburb anymore? Or are we moving to a future where the whole region is just a network of interconnected urban nodes?
A network of nodes. I love that image.
Yeah.
It changes the mental map. Instead of a center and a periphery, it's just a web.
A web of 15-minute cities. It's a very different way to look at the world.
Well, on that provocative note, we are going to wrap up this deep dive into the Hemisphere Project. A huge thank you to everyone listening. Whether you're in a high-rise or a bungalow, we hope this gave you something to think about.
Thanks for listening.
See you on the next one.